Hi, and welcome to our session on big data and the customer experience. I'm Lisa Loftis from the SaaS Customer Intelligence Group, and I'll be talking to you today about what we see happening with big data, particularly with edge devices, smart tech, and digital activity. We'll also look at how this is changing the customer engagement model and what we think the Martech must-haves are if you want to keep up with customer expectations in today's rapidly evolving world. SAS and Futurum Research conducted a study of the factors that will shape customer experience into the future, and one of the most significant findings was that real-time data collection, analysis, and response are the indisputable future of CX. I believe that the most important aspect of this prediction is the impact that it will have on our Martech infrastructures, because when we apply a real-time prerequisite to most marketing and CX activity, what I like to call the need for speed transitions from an occasional requirement for specialized situations into a more universal need. And when I say speed, I mean speed to detection of online events, speed to activation of all data, including that from the edge, speed to analysis of behavior, and speed to intelligent reactions. Futurum looked at the Martech impacts as well, and what they concluded is what you see on the slide. The brands who want to be successful in customer experience will have to adapt their technology models to become more agile, to rely more on automation, and to find ways to incorporate the smart and immersive tech that so many of our customers are telling us is here to stay. This thinking around the need for technical agility and modernization isn't confined to Futurum by any means. The Accenture 2021 Tech Trends, as an example, found that 80% of executives say their companies are facing technology changes at an unprecedented speed and scale, and a whopping 89% say that their ability to generate value will increasingly be based on the limitations and opportunities of their tech stacks. Now, think about that for a second. Value generation based not so much on products, services, or business strategy, but on limitations of tech stacks with all the attendant aging legacy applications, data silos, and modernization complexities. That might not be such a pretty picture. I think the key to finding ourselves on the right side of opportunities from our Martech rather than on the wrong side of its limitations is going to be in the ability to wade through the noise, to get a solid understanding of how customer engagement is changing and of exactly what components of Martech have to be modernized or acquired in order to keep up. So what is changing about customer engagement is that customers have almost universally adopted a kind of hybrid digital-physical engagement model where the boundaries between the virtual, digital, and physical realms are blurring as customer experience itself becomes more conversational and more responsive. Futurum compared pre and post 2020 consumer behavior to get a sense for how these companies want to interact with us today versus just a year ago, and the results really were very interesting. Mobile phones were already an integral part of people's lives, of course, with one third of representatives saying in early 2020 that they had 3 or more mobile homes in their household. Today, 62% still say that they still want to use their phones for online ordering and curbside pickup, and 67% have embraced telemedicine to the point where they want this trend to continue into the foreseeable future. For wearables, at least 44% have one wearable in their household today, And 78% told Futurum that they expect to engage with companies or control other tech like phones or smart homes with the wearable by 2025. Now, 68% expect to use wearables to communicate with companies by next year. And this one actually played out for me in real time this weekend. My nephew left his iPhone in the car in an airport parking lot at the start of a weekend getaway and didn't have time to go back and get it before the plane took off. Well, no phone for an entire weekend would strike horror in most of us. It wasn't as big a deal for him as it might have been because he was able to use his smartwatch, which is connected to the phone, to do much of what the phone would normally do. Smart assistants like Siri and Alexa were already taking hold, with 35% saying that they had at least two in their households pre-2020, and 80% saying that they expected to use these devices to make purchases by 2030. Again, these behaviors are significantly accelerated today, with 70% expecting to make purchases in the next year and 55% saying they would like to be able to use something like Siri or Alexa to ask for help when they are in a physical store, which just reinforces the hybrid digital physical concept. One of the most interesting and significant changes was actually in the augmented reality, virtual reality world. Before 2020, 56% expected to virtually visit places by 2025, and 78% expected to use AR, VR to sample products, but not until 2030. Now, 63% are already doing virtual visits, and 69% think they'll use this technology to sample products within the next year. And this is something that's actually also playing out right now as well, because retailers that are making use of AR, VR for try and buy customer engagement models are already seeing benefit. Home Depot found that people are 2 to 3 times more likely to convert when they view a product in AR on their computer or their smartphone. And Shopify and Build.com both show a greater likelihood to buy and a lower rate of returns when people use AR, VR as a part of the path to purchase. Chatbots, these aren't new, obviously. Prior to 2020, people were already starting to accept that online help would come more and more from this type of tech. What is interesting, though, is the emergence of video, with 63% saying they want the ability to view a how-to video before they go through a chat. So these changes in consumer behavior are actually already having a pretty significant impact on companies as well. Marketers told Futurum 76% of them believe that the hybrid digital physical engagement is here to stay. 83% are rethinking what it means to deliver superior experiences because of this. 66% are accelerating online tracking for behavior and habits in this new engagement model, and 66% believe that most real-time customer decisions in the near future will be made by smart machines or automated decisioning engines. From a Martech perspective, this means the ability to recognize context and interactions, the ability to embed analytics in the decisioning processes, and the ability to do these automated decisions at scale. So we just saw that a significant number of companies are rethinking customer experiences, but what are they doing with this new tech? This is one of my favorite examples of fantastic uses for smart and immersive tech and the huge amount of data that this tech provides, mainly because the engagement opportunities that Vail and other ski resorts are facilitating with this technology are so powerful to the customer experience. I also like the example because it provides the ability to talk a little more about context and to highlight how smart tech and big data can play a pretty significant role in advancing contextual understanding. So there are really, to me, three types of context: relationship, personal, and situational. Relationship context is the simplest kind, and I included here, even though smart tech and big data don't typically play a significant role in relationship context, because relationship context can provide good customer understanding all by itself, and it definitely augments the benefits that are provided by the other types of context. So this type is gleaned from historical behavior and CRM information. In Vail's case, this consists of things like past stays, resort activities, and the use of amenities. Relationship context by itself helps Vail to understand things like share of wallet, how much of a skier's budget is spent at their family of resorts and which ones, and also to target offers and shape customer journeys and behaviors based on segments. So families may go down one journey path, while mature skiers get another. And when we look at personal and situational context, the benefits of smart and immersive tech really come to the forefront. So what Vail did to enhance contextual understanding was to embed RFID chips into their resort passes. This enables them to gather all kinds of very detailed information. The digitized passes provide lots of personal context, highlighting personal preferences, things like favored slopes, times that people like to ski, and times that they like to eat lunch. The resort also provides on-mountain photos that skiers can download and post to social media for free. This gives Vail insight into individuals' social media activity because the photos are trackable. All of this information can be used to personalize interactions to a far greater degree than if they were just using the relationship context by itself. The possibilities from real-time situational context are also extremely powerful. Through the passes, Vail knows where every skier is on the mountain at all times, and they can use that information in just a ton of different ways. Identifying long wait times on skiers' favorite lifts and suggesting alternatives, allowing skiers to track vertical feet skied and compare it to friends and family, providing the ability to virtually compete with professional skiers like Lindsey Vonn in timed races, and offering limited time meal discounts that are aimed to spread out the lunch crowd more evenly across the mountain. These just scratch the surface of what can be done. And as you can see, the impacts on customer experience can be pretty awesome. So these challenges are what we believe are the most prevalent challenges that marketers face in trying to harness big data and provide the kind of interactions that we just talked about. There's a Forrester report that I really like that mirrors these almost one for one if you want to read more about any of the individual challenges that I don't have time to talk in great detail about today. The report is called When Data Drags You Down. Marketers told Forrester in that report that their top strategic challenges include keeping up with the rapid pace of interactions, which isn't a surprise, and which on our chart is data velocity and timely action, translating customer insights into actionable marketing outcomes, which is taking action both from a decisioning and a deployment perspective, and coordinating messages and interactions across channels and screens, which maps to overcoming the disconnected customer experience. The report also specified technology challenges, and these included lack of integration among marketing technologies, which obviously corresponds to the integration of disparate systems on the slide, lack of integration of customer technology, which we've been suffering with as marketers pretty much for my entire 30-year career, which is handling volume and interpretation of data on our challenges screen, and duplicate or overlapping Martech capabilities, which on the slide is represented by numerous software tools and overlapping Martech. The good news is that the Martech capabilities that we have available to us today, if we can winnow these down to what we really need and make full use of what we have, we can accomplish what Vail is already doing and what Futurum indicates that is the CX future. And that's what we're going to focus on for the last few minutes of this conversation. So I want to start with a component that's critical, but it's often overlooked and you don't hear it talked about that much: streaming data, which is actually extremely important to deal with the rapid pace of interactions and the high volumes of data that we see, especially with digital activity and edge devices. Now, streaming data isn't new, but the way we handle it needs to change to deal with the data volume, velocity, and real-time requirements. So common practice until now is what you see here. We collect the data in a stream, we run some rudimentary data cleansing or fast ETL on it, and we put it into a data store, a data warehouse, or an operational data store of some sort. Once the data is streamed into the data store, analysis can be run and decisions or actions can be triggered. The problem, though, is that there's almost always a lag. Best case, we're usually talking about minutes to hours, but in reality, it could be a day or more, which clearly doesn't meet the real-time requirement that Futurum has specified. Things look pretty different in a modernized Martech environment, with streaming data in particular. The interim data store is not the optimum way to get real-time decisions done, because to meet customer expectations, streaming data has to be analyzed and acted upon as soon as it comes into the stream, not hours later. The data and analysis results can always be stored for later usage if the nature of the actions do not call for real-time delivery. But the digital engagement models today mean that we have to apply the analytics to that data as it's moving through the stream so that we can take immediate action if it's called for. So the goal of a streaming data platform in today's world is to apply high-end analytics directly to the data. These analytics can either be offline trained models or models like artificial intelligence or machine learning that are actually trained in stream as the data runs through them. We also want to incorporate offline data like the personal context we saw with Vail, which resorts the customer prefers, which amenities they use, their past behavior, the demographics. We want to access this type of data directly in stream in order to make the decisions more relevant and more personalized. So the last thing I want to do today is highlight the remaining capabilities that we think are most important in today's Martech stack. These represent what we call the 3 Ds of customer experience: detect, decide, and deliver. So we'll go back to Forrester one last time. When asked about the Martech most important to overcome the challenges, both strategic and technical, the answers were pretty interesting. 80% said they wanted customer data integration across every end channel. 77% specified customer data unification and single view of customer via advanced identity stitching. 79% requested a one-stop multi-channel engagement hub. 78% wanted flexible data-led customer journey builders, and 75% wanted advanced multi-channel experimentation. So the red boxes that you see on the slide right now highlight the Martech components that make up the first D, which is detect. They provide a comprehensive view of the customer, which maps directly to the marketer's desire for integration across every channel and single identity via single view via identity stitching. Now, for a lot of marketers, this immediately brings to mind a customer data platform or CDP, which is fine, but there are some critical things to consider when we're looking at detect that may or may not be in a traditional CDP, but absolutely need to be in your Martech stack if you want to do the things we're talking about today. These include the ability to combine online and offline data for analytics without having to load every piece of data into the CDP or into the Marketing Cloud, the ability to create and maintain real-time profiles that incorporate the online and offline information and dynamically update when either type of data changes, and the ability to define and detect significant online events as they happen, as well as the streaming data platform that allows for real-time analytics on these events and eliminates the lag time between triggers and action. Next is Decide, and this is kind of surprising to me because Decide is actually a real-time decisioning engine. And if you remember back to what we just talked about, marketers telling Forrester that they wanted, the real-time decisioning engine was not one of those technical capabilities. But without it, there's clearly a big gap in the Martech stack. This might be because marketers assume that their CDP or marketing hub will suffice. And for traditional marketing offers, they might be right. But if you want to score customers or execute complex multi-step decisions that incorporate business logic, business rules, like which mountain restaurants to prioritize to spread out the lunch offers, and also at the same time pull in the historical data, what time specific skiers typically stop for lunch, then you have to have a decision engine to do this, at least in real time. And then the last set of tech that marketers told Forrester that they wanted were the one-stop multi-channel engagement hub, the flexible data-led journey builder, and the advanced multi-channel experimentation. And these together make up the third D, which is deliver. And they pretty well represent the capabilities that are needed in a multi-channel enterprise marketing hub, where marketers plan activity, manage journeys, and get the marketing communications to the glass, to the customer across all channels. Now, as you can see, this diagram represents a pretty diverse set of capabilities that align across several different solution types. To this point, there's an ongoing argument of sorts running now about best of breed versus integrated marketing suites, with Gartner finding that decreasing marketing budgets under the pandemic combined with the underutilization of existing MarTech are pushing marketers towards integrated suites, while some vendors, pure play CDP vendors in particular, are angling for a more best of breed approach. Now, you're always going to have, I believe, certain MarTech that has to be integrated, but for me, the clear need for very, very tight integration across the 3Ds tips the balance towards integrated suite for most companies, at least for the capabilities that we've just been looking at. And the larger the customer base, the more likely I think that is going to be a need. So that wraps up my session for today. Thank you for joining. And if you have questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. My contact information is on the slide. Thank you.